Good morning, students. Today we are here with a new lesson from your supplementary book, and its name is Princess September. Now, this is a complex title, as you can see, not easy to understand. Basically, September is a name of month. Okay, it is the ninth month in our calendar. But in this story, there was a king and queen of Siam. Siam is known as currently Thailand. I think you have heard the name of this country. So there was a king and queen of Thailand or Siam who have 9 daughters. The queen was unable to remember everyone's name. That is why they thought that they will name their daughters according to their month name. Okay, that is why the youngest girl's name is September. September is the ninth month and she is the youngest. That is why we can say that the king and queen have 9 daughters. So we are going to start it now. This story revolves around this girl, Princess September, who got a parrot on the birthday of his father. What happens with that parrot? And there is an entry of a new bird. Okay, so we will try to understand what is that all mystery. Let's begin. There are some clues about the story. Princess September, like each one of her numerous sisters, receives the gift of a parrot in a golden cage on her father's birthday. The parrot dies, and by chance a singing bird comes in its place. The princess shows off her pet to the sisters, who advise her to put it in a case. Now we are going to start it. This is the first paragraph. The king and queen of Siam had many daughters, and the queen said that it confused her to have to remember so many names. One day the king decided to call them January, February, March, through of course in Siamese, till he came to the youngest whom he called September. So as I have already told you that there was a king and queen of Siam. Siam is currently known as Thailand. It is a name of country. Both these have too many daughters, and the queen said that it gets her confused to remember the names of her daughters. So that is why one day the king decided to call them from January, February, March, and all these names actually were in Siamese language. So the youngest one's name was September. So that is why the youngest one, with the name of that youngest one, this lesson is titled here, and her name was Princess September. Now we are moving next. The king of Siam had peculiar habit. Instead of receiving gifts on his birthday, he gave them. One year on his birthday, not having anything else handy, he gave each of his daughters a green parrot in a golden cage. The princesses were very proud of their parrots, and they spent an hour every day in teaching them to talk. Presently, all the parrots could say, "God save the king," and some of them could say, "Pretty Polly," in no less than 7 Oriental languages. At first, we will try to understand the meaning of these highlighted words. First one is peculiar. Peculiar means strange or different from others, and handy means which can be find easily or immediately find, we can say. Okay, pretty Polly, its meaning is also similar to the God save the king. Okay, that is in different language, its meaning is also God save the king. Oriental means eastern languages. Okay, eastern countries, the countries which are existed in the east side in our world map. So let's try to understand this paragraph. In this paragraph, we came to know that the king had a very strange habit and he used to give the gifts to the others in his birthday instead of receiving. You have seen in your birthday that you get too many gifts, but you doesn't give anyone. Okay, but he has a peculiar habit that he did not receive the gifts. Instead of that, he used to gift others. That was a peculiar habit. Now, one year he did not find anything handy, so he decided to give a parrot in a golden case to his daughters on his birthday. All the princesses were very proud and they used to spend 1 hour every day by teaching them to talk. Okay, means all the princesses used to spend 1 hour because they wanted to teach them to say God save the king and Pretty Polly in less than 7 eastern countries languages. Okay, now we are moving next. There you can see, this is the picture when the king is gifting to the daughters, and these are all daughters, and this is the queen. Now this one. But one day when Princess September went to say good morning to her parrot, she found it lying dead at the bottom of its golden case. She burst into a flood of tears, and nothing that her maids of honor could say comfort her. She cried so much that the maids of honor, not knowing what to do, told the queen, and made the queen said it was stuff and nonsense, and the child had better to go bed without any supper. The maid of honor wanted to go to party, so they put Princess September to bed as quickly as they could and left her by herself. And while she lay in her bed, crying still, even though she felt rather hungry and saw a little bird hop into the room, she wiped her tears and sat up. Then the little bird began to sing, and he sang a beautiful song all about the lake in the king's garden and the willow trees that looks at themselves in the still water and the goldfish that glided in and out of the branches that were reflected in it. When he had finished, the princess was not crying any more, and she forgot that he had no supper. That was a very nice song, she said. So, what happened? The gift the Princess September got from the king, that was a parrot in the case. But one morning, when he went to say good morning to her parrot, she found that the parrot was lying dead. And what happened after that? She was crying, and she was crying very badly. And the maids of honor, Maids of honor means basically the attendants of the princess. You have seen in the history that whenever any princess used to go, and she has some companion women. Okay, some companion women, these are called maids of honor. So the maids of honor was also not able to comfort her. She was crying and crying very badly. And the maids of honor went to the queen about that issue. Queen also said that it is a stuff and it is nonsense, and it will be better that we should leave that child and she has to go to the bed without supper. Okay, try to understand this word's meaning. Supper means a evening meal, evening food, that is called supper, and night food is known as dinner. Okay, so what happens when she went to the bed? The maids of honor has to go to attend a party. That is why they went from this place and they left the Princess September by herself. And while she was in her bed and she was crying and she was very happy, she was very hungry, a little bird came in her room and it was jumping. And that time Princess September wiped her tears and sat up. Then the little bird started singing a beautiful song, and it started near the garden of the willow tree. The willow tree was looking like that it is in the water because its reflection was showing in the water, where a goldfish was gliding in and out of the branches. That was a very beautiful scene because it was looking like the tree, the reflection of the tree was in the water and the goldfish was moving. It was seeming that the goldfish was moving in the branches of the tree. That was a very beautiful scene. When the bird finished his song, that time Princess September was not crying anymore, and she forgot that she hadn't any supper that day. Okay, supper means I have already told you, evening meal. And then she appraised to the new bird that that was a very nice song. So what happens next? We will try to find out. Yes, this is the next paragraph. The little bird gave her a bow. Would you care to have me in a place of your parrot? Said the little bird. It is true that I am not so pretty to look at, but on the other hand, I have a much better voice. Princess September clapped her hands with delight, and then the little bird hopped on to the end of her bed and sang her to sleep. So what happens when Princess September appreciated that bird, and that time that bird gave a bow. Bow means shaking his head. And that time that bird asked to Princess September that can he take the place of a dead parrot, and he also said that he is not so pretty but he has much better voice and he can sing very well. And after listening that, Princess September clapped her hands and she was very delighted. When she clapped her hand, the bird came at the end of the bed, on the top of at the end of the bed, and sang a beautiful song, by which that beautiful song the Princess September slept. Now next one. When she awoke next day, the little bird was still there, and as she opened her eyes, he said, "Good morning." The maid of honor brought in her breakfast, and he ate rice out her hand, and he had his bath in her saucer. He began to sing again so beautifully that the maids of honor were quite surprised, for they had never heard anything like it, and Princess September was very proud and happy. In the next morning, when Princess September was awoke, she saw that the bird was wishing her good morning. And after that, the maids of honor came there with a breakfast, and that time the bird ate some rice from the hand of Princess September, and he also took bath with the saucer. Then again he began to sing very beautifully, and the maids of honor, the attendants of the Princess September, were very surprised to listen the voice, because they never heard a beautiful song like this from any bird. Now next one. Now I want to show you to my 8 sisters, said the princess. She stretched out the first finger of her right hand so that it served as a perch, and the little bird flew down and sat on it. Then, followed by her maids of honor, she went through the palace and called on each of the princes. And for each of them, the little bird sang a different song, but the parrots could only say, God save the king and Pretty Polly. At last, she showed the little bird to the king and queen. They were surprised and delighted. Now, what happens when Princess September and the maids of honor were surprised to hear the song from the new bird, and she decided that she will show the bird to her all 8 sisters. So that is why she stretched out the first finger of her right hand. Okay, because she wanted to make it as a perch. Perch means basically it is a place where the birds used to sit. A branch of a tree can also be called a perch. Okay, this time her finger was acting as a perch. So when she stretched her finger, then the bird flew and sat on it. And after that, the maids of honor also followed the Princess September while she was moving in her palace. And when she went to meet every sister, then the bird used to sing a different song for every sister. Means he sang 8 songs for 8 sisters. Okay, and the other princes have parrots, and they were only used to say that God save the king and Pretty Polly, because they doesn't know other things, they doesn't know how to sing. Okay, at last the Princess September went to meet the king and queen, and when the king and queen of Siam or Thailand heard the song from the bird, they were very surprised and delighted. Delighted means happy. Now next one. I knew I was right to send you to bed without supper, said the queen. This bird sings much better than the parrots, said the king. I should have thought you got quite tired of hearing people say, God save the king, said the queen. I can't think why those girls wanted to teach their parrots to say it too. The sentiment is admirable, said the king, and I never mind how often I hear it, but I do get tired of hearing those parrots say Pretty Polly. They say it in 7 different languages, said the princess. I dare they say, said the king. but it reminds me too much of my counselors. They say the same thing in seven different ways, and it never means anything in any way they say it. Now we will try to understand this one. When the queen heard the voice of that word, she thought that it was her right decision to send to the bed to her daughter while she was crying from the death of her parent. The queen felt that it was a right decision, that she should have thought about the daughter. Okay, what happens after that? The king also said that the bird sings much better than the other 8 parrots which are owned by your sisters. The king said that the birds used to say every time that God save the king and Pretty Polly. It looks like that it is a fake one, because his counselor always used to say that in different languages. Okay, but they doesn't mean that. Okay, the queen expressed that she should have thought about how tired the king would have got upon hearing the same words, God save the king, by so many people and so many parrots. It was very hard to understand why their daughters taught the parrots to say that God save the king. The king, on the other hand, finds the emotion behind the appreciation, and he doesn't mind how often he hears, because they were talking, or the parrots were praising that the God saved the king. He does not mention he mentioned that hearing Pretty Polly often gets tired him. The princess, the princesses, means the other 8 princesses, instantly mentioned that the parrots can say the same thing in 7 different languages. But this time, the king did not have any doubt upon the capability of parrots, that they can say the same thing in different languages. But he mentioned one more thing, that he has some counselors. Okay, counselor means we can say the ministers who used to help the king. He has some counselors. They always used to say that God save the king, and many sentences like these in different languages, but in reality they don't mean that. Okay, that is why the king don't like these sentences. Now next one. Yes, this is the scene while Princess September is in the palace with king and queen with her bird. Now next one. Now the next one. The princesses were vexed at this, and the parrots looked very glum indeed. But Princess September ran through all the rooms of the palace, singing like a lark, while the little bird flew around and round her, singing like a nightingale. So what happens when the other princesses heard the appreciation from the king, and the king also criticized the other parrots? This time they got very vexed. Vexed means distress. Okay, they got very jealous, and the other parrots were also glum. Glum means sad. Okay, but Princess September was very happy, and she was running through the palace and singing like a skylark. Okay, lark is a short form of skylark, and skylark basically is a bird who sings very beautifully. While the little bird was flying around and singing like a nightingale. Now next one. Things went on like this for several days. Then the 8 princesses put their heads together. They went to September and sat down in a circle round her. My poor September, they said, we are sorry for the death of your beautiful parrot. It must be dreadful for you not to have a pet bird as we have. So we have all put our pocket money together and we are going to buy you a lovely green yellow parrot. Now, as you know, the 8 princesses got jealous and they were very distressed. That is why they put their head together. Put their head together means they started discussion together. Okay, and after that, all of them went to Princess September and sat down in a circle round her. And they said to Princess September that they are very sorry for Princess September that she has lost the parrot which her father gave her in the birthday. And they also know that it was a dreadful experience. And they also said that they will give her their pocket money to buy a new green parrot because they wanted that Princess September they wanted from Princess September that she will throw away she will throw away the new bird. Because of the new bird, their parents were criticized and Princess September was appreciated and the bird was also appreciated. That is why they become jealous and they wanted to get rid of that new bird. Now next one. Thank you for nothing, said September. I have a pet bird which sings the most charming song to me, and I don't know what on earth I should do with a green and yellow parrot. But while Princess September heard these things, she directly said to her sisters that thank you for nothing means thank you for giving me a nothing advice because it was not going to work. And she also said that she has already a pet bird. He used to sing very charming, very melodiously. And she also said there is no one, and why will I buy a new green yellow parrot who can't sing? Then next, well, my dear, they said, it is absurd to talk of your bird when the little fellow flies in and out just as he likes. They looked around the room and raised their eyebrows. Now we will try to understand this one. The other sisters are telling to her that it is very absurd. Absurd means waste of talking about. It will be waste to talk about your bird because he flies here and there just like this. Means that they were also looking here and there and they did not found the the new bird around there. That is why they raising their eyebrows. Eyebrows means because they were very surprised that the bird was not there. Okay, because bird used to go here and there and sing beautiful songs. So this said that this bird cannot be yours because he is free. He has gone here and there and there is no guarantee that he will come back. Okay, now next one. Do you mind, just a minute, do you mind or asking where your bird is now? They said. He has gone to pay a visit to his father-in-law, said Princess September. And what makes you think he will come back? Asked the princesses. He always does come back, said Princess. Well, my dear, said the 8 princesses, if you will take our advice, you won't run any risk like that. If he comes back, and mind you, if he does, you will be lucky. Pop him into the case and keep him there. That is the only way you can be sure of him. Then the other 8 sisters asked to her that where is your bird this time now? If you don't mind, where is your bird this time now? Princess September replied them that he has gone to visit to his father-in-law's house. Then again they asked the question that when will he came back, and is there any guarantee that he will come back? Then she said that he always comes back. Then again the 8 princesses again started giving her advice that why are you taking this kind of risk? You don't have to take risk. If he come back, please take him and put him into the case. That is how you can be make sure about him that this is your parrot and he will not go here and there. But I like to have him fly about the room, said the young princess. Young princess said to other sisters that I like him to have fly in the room. Safety first, said the sisters ominously. Okay, we will try to understand the meaning of ominously, which means threateningly, means making problems for others. Means this time the 8 sisters became very ominous. Ominous means very problematic, or we can say very threatened. Okay, they said that safety first. Safety is the first thing. Then after that, what happened? They got up and walked out of the room, shaking their heads, and they left Princess September very uneasy. Uneasy means in a confusing condition. Okay, these are some question answers here. The first question is, how many daughters did the royal couple have? So as you know, the September is the 9th month and she was the youngest one, so there will be 9 daughters. Second one, why were they named after the months of the year? We have already studied that the Queen of Siam was unable to remember the names of her daughter. It was very difficult to remember because there were too many. So that is why they decided that they will name their daughters with the name of the month. Now next one, question number 3. The king had peculiar habit. What was it? Why is it called peculiar? As you know that the king has a peculiar habit. Instead of receiving the gifts, he used to gift others. That was a peculiar habit. And it is called peculiar because people used to receive the gift, but he used to gift others on his birthday. That is why it was a peculiar one. Now the fourth number, the first part of fourth question. What was Princess September's reaction to the loss of her parrot? As you know that she was crying and crying, and she did not eat her supper that evening. Okay, that was the reaction of Princess September. Even her maids of honor was unable to make comfort her. Now second question, what was her mother's reaction? As you know that her mother reacted quite normally upon hearing it. She said that it was only a stuff and nonsense, and she also suggested that it would be better to go to bed without any supper. Now question number 3, what do the reactions indicate about the nature and temperament of each? As you know, Princess September's reaction to the loss of parrots means she was crying and crying. That tells us that she was young and very sensitive and emotional. Okay, and she suddenly burst out into tears. Okay, but the other side, the queen was very sensible. Okay, she was very sensible, and she knows how to handle the children's or the child's suffering. That is why this shows that her behavior indicates that she was least bothered with the loss of her daughter's parrot. Okay, now the next one, number 5. What pulled the princess out of her gloom? Okay, its answer you can write down like this: seeing a bird hop into her window and sing a beautiful song, which pulled the princess out of her gloom. Now, number 6. How did the maids of honor come to know that princess and the bird had become intimate friends? When the maids of honor brought in the princess's breakfast, and the bird ate rice out of her hand and had his bath in her saucer. The maids of honor came to know that the bird and princesses had become intimate friends. Now, question number 7. The new bird was full of new songs, but the old parrots always repeated themselves. What did they say? As you know, that the old parrots always used to say, God save the king and pretty Polly. Now, next one, question number 8. What is the king's opinion about his counselors? Why did he form that opinion? The king said about his counselor that they always used to say the same sentences in different languages, but they don't follow that. Even they didn't mean that. Okay, that is why he made that opinion for the counselors. Now the first part of ninth question. The 8 princesses made an offer to Princess September. What was it? The 8 princesses made an offer to Princess September that they will give their pocket money and they will buy a new parrot for Princess September. Why, in your view, did they do that? It was very simple, that they were jealous of the new bird. They want to get rid of her bird. Now the last question, question number 10 of this one. What did the sisters advise the princess to do about her bird? The 8 princesses advised their sister that she has to put the bird into the cage. Okay, by which there will be a surety about the bird. That was these were the only questions in the comprehension check. First, you will write down these questions on your own. So we are going to end the first part of Princess September, and we will study the second part in our next class.